AI comes with some default manifest. It can be changed. Default manifest is pretty much sufficient for a simple environment. If all you're wanting to do is basically get the Opensolaris bits out there on a server, get it up and running, then I'm going to sit down and finish my configuration later. Default is perfectly sufficient for you. You can start to go out in there and customize it. Now within AI today, the way that you customize it is you go out there, you make a copy of the manifest, you go in there and you start doing some of the updates. There are plans to have a command line. I don't know when this is coming, but it's been deferred for a little while. A command line interface to be able to update the manifest. They've even talked about a GUI to be able to go out there and do some configuration on the manifest. I haven't really seen on the roadmap when they're planning on doing it, but I know that it's within the plans. So you look at the AI manifest in particular, you can customize some of the following items. The disk target. You can identify FDisk partition, disk slices. You can create them, you can delete them, you can preserve them. You can customize what IPS repository, like I said before. Your software cluster, whether you want to do all plus OEM, those sorts of things. And then any additional software packages you want it to go out there and grab. Cool thing is that within these manifests, they're making it much more simple. You can define, say, disk in terms of anything. I can define it in type of whether I want it to be USB, one of your SCSI, SATA, your manufacturer, dev name, whether it's a running on top of a volume manager or not. Use only disk with the Solaris partition. I can do any one of these. I can do a combination of them so that I can really get I can get granular in how I want to do my configuration. Not everything's been implemented yet, but there are plans to take it a little bit further. So a quick example of what an AI manifest would look like. It's XML, and this is one that I think has almost everything that you can set in it. So a good example is up here where we're talking about the target device I want to install on. I give it a dev name, I give it the type of disk it is, the manufacturer of the disk, what size it is, and let's use Solaris partition set to true, so I've got to make sure all that's true. So it'll look for somebody who has this criteria. So if I went out there and had a client or something like that that didn't have a Toshiba disk, I could change that and make it different. Let's see, partition, you're able to develop these different partitions, where it goes, VTOX, and then down here I'm starting to say where what packages I'm going to actually install on this one. Here's an example where it tells you exactly which repository you're using. So although it looks somewhat complex, it's really not. This is an extensive AI manifest. It could actually be very simple to where it says basically default, where it'll go through and it'll say, okay, just use the first disk that matches XYZ criteria, and it doesn't. You don't even have to put anything in there. So you can get as detailed as you want, or you can let defaults play. Another example is this is the SC manifest, System Configuration Manifest. So in this one, for example, they're creating a user, they're setting the password for the user, and then they're creating a description for it, and it's the default user. So in this case, they're just using the Jack user, which is default within Solaris. They're setting the time zone here to be Pacific time, and then they're setting the host name of the client as well. So if I wanted to go in here and I didn't like Jack being the original user, I could change it over to tgensid or something else like that.
Just as a stylistic note, I think it's easier to read XML in the monospaced on the previous slide than it is in the kind of sort of time serif thing here on that.
That's actually a good note, because this is one I actually grabbed from somewhere else, whereas I developed one previously.
Right. So and that just may be me.
Well, it's a common
actually,
convention.
I like that feedback, because I found the same thing. It is a little bit more difficult to read. XML is not the easiest thing to read in the first place.
Yeah.
Unless you stare at it all day.
Well, like I said, it just seemed easier to pluck out the information on the previous slide. So.
Okay, thank you. Here's an example of a criteria manifest where, in In this circumstance, what we've done is we've said to match the criteria, this is going to be the Sun 4V. So any architecture that matches the Sun 4V architecture, I want to use this AI manifest and I want to use this SC manifest. And then I could go over and I could say for anything that's Sun 4U, use different ones, or I could set it based on MAC address, IP address, etc. IPS repository default right now for AI is package.opensolaris.org. We already talked about that. We could specify it. We can even specify more than one repository if we want to. And all the documentation can be found out there on Opensolaris. Just go to Cayman, and then underneath Cayman there's a project called AI, or Automated Installer. You can find all the documents, design documents, etc., mailing lists, etc. So, and that's pretty much all I had.
Excellent. Any questions for Travis?
No, that was really.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. It's something I would not likely have delved into earlier on for my own effort.
Exactly.